Like almost all of my stuff is original. Gosh, 90-something 750. Yep.
Yeah.
And the motor had caught fire and burned up. And so I had this motor that I knew.
Before you had it?
No, unfortunately it happened in my yard. Oh. So I had it running and all that, and it caught fire and burned up. So now I have this crispy motor that I knew ran. So I took an ammo can, cut it down, made an adapter plate, put a holly on it, made 12 intake runners, made flanges, and I made this thing run with an ammo can and a carburetor and HEI distributors, like $50 each on eBay for like a Jeep. We did cut 24-foot pontoon boat pontoons down to 20 feet, filled it with marine expanding foam, cut reliefs in for the wheels, and that was all quick release. That would come off in like freaking 20 seconds. You'd have the whole pontoon
to change
off,
a tire.
Wow.
tires and brakes, because it's a race car. It was a Lemons car.
And something about the proportions of it really look good.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Off the Record. We love Off the Record because they are here for you. I just had a client at Westside Collector Car Storage call me this weekend, got a ticket on the PCH on a Sunday, was just cruising along, and I sent him straight to Off the Record. Why? Because they're going to do it. They're going to cover you. If you get a ticket, you don't plead guilty. You go to Off the Record, more specifically, offtherecord.com/TST, or download the Off the Record app and use code TST10 at checkout. Off the Record will set you up with a qualified attorney in your jurisdiction, or the jurisdiction where you got that ticket. They'll fight that ticket on your behalf. They'll go to court on your behalf. They'll negotiate on your behalf. You don't really have to do anything. Just scan or photograph that ticket, upload it to Off the Record, and they will handle the rest. Their success rate is amazing. Not a week goes by where I don't get a email or a text or an Instagram DM from somebody who said, Off the Record saved me. They got this handled. They got it taken care of. It was no worries. It was easy. It was affordable. And we saved them 10% with our code TST10 on the app or offtherecord.com/TST. Never plead guilty. Exit that ecosystem easily, quickly, and smoothly with Off the Record. Lastly, offtherecord.com/TST or code TST10 on the Off the Record app. Ironic that we just read that, considering our guest today is a retired police officer. It's Jeff Speedy Cop Bloch. Well, maybe not that ironic considering it's Speedy Cop, but Jeff is one of the most prolific, creative, and original Lemons race car builders in history. If you've ever seen a photo of a truly insane Lemons car, not just like a Civic with a shopping cart on the roof. I'm talking about the pop-up camper, the upside-down Camaro, the two rear-ended AMC Pacer, the airplane, the helicopter. I mean, literally the craziest race cars you could think of. Chances are Jeff Speedy Cop Bloch built them. He tells us his story, his creative process, some of the challenges, trials, and tribulations of building some of the most epically ridiculous Lemons cars in the history of the 24 hours of Lemons. It's Jeff Speedy Cop Bloch on the Smoking Tire Podcast.
But anyway, thanks for stopping by, Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
Good to see you
any
again.
Precursors before we start? Or we
No,
just
this is it. We're here.
Nice.
This is it.
There's no censorship. You can say whatever you want. You're all good.
Still try to watch my language, though.
That's
so
okay.
It was,
I'm not going to watch
6 years
mine,
ago that you asked me to come on this, and
yeah,
life got in the way. But
well, you
thank
live
for
on the
still
other
having
side
me
of the
here.
country, so I would say the country got in the way, the literal distance of
That
the
was part of
country.
it, yeah.
But here you are. You've got
Yeah.
family nearby, an excuse
Joshua
for
Tree,
a,
in Las
excuse for a
Vegas.
little road trip.
Yep. Even sister out there, Lake Tahoe area. So
Oh yeah, well that's lovely. Are they still buried in snow?
they probably are. They had like 11 feet.
Yeah.
Did you see all the
Nuts.
pictures of how crazy it was?
At Mammoth?
Record
Yeah.
snowfall.
Mammoth was there was like 35 feet of snow.
Yes,
it was
the
insane.
lifts couldn't go because of the snow. Like it was just shit.
Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
heard of that. Closed
is
because
nuts.
there's too much snow.
At Mammoth, they said they were going to be skiing until July.
Wow.
Like
wow.
I think we
Whoa.
should.
They didn't make
go
snow all year,
skiing
probably.
like in.
Yeah,
we should try that July 4th ski trip.
Pair of shorts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, shorts, that's all you need.
It's a great idea until you fall. Then it turns out like carpet burn and snow burn are roughly
I've done it
equivalent.
once. It was one of those things where our whole group did ski down in their underwear, and it was cold. This was not a
I do
want to
eventually do one of those things where you ski down the slope and then go across The frozen pond.
That looks like so much fun.
They do. In all the ski movies, they have that set up, but I've never actually seen it set up at a ski resort.
Most places do it like April. It's like usually the closing of the season.
Right.
And it's just like a party day on a Saturday.
the last day.
Yeah, we should do that.
Right. We're gonna figure out. Gotta figure out when that's going on.
I've been watching those videos like Heavy D Dave Sparks coming out from Utah and stuff with all his equipment to rescue people or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I mean, they were just so snowed in, Tahoe, Truckee, that whole area.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was a disaster.
Record snowfall.
Yeah.
So cool.
So you are, if not one of the most prolific by quantity, certainly by quality and creativity,
thank you.
lemons builders of all time. What started you? You know, you're a police officer for many years. You just retired, right?
I'm retiring right now. Yeah,
Retiring right now.
Next month or so.
And so not a full-time hustle, but side hustle building the weirdest shit imaginable. And every time I saw the craziest thing imaginable at a Lemons race, I was like, well, that is a Speedy Cop build right there. From the upside down Camaro, there was the pop top trailer, right? The Cessna. Was there a boat? I think there was a boat.
Somebody else had the boat.
Someone else had the boat.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm not the only nut job.
right. But you, I mean, what is your thought process like? Let's just dive into this in terms of building some really bizarre stuff.
I'm a creative guy and a competitive guy. And you take those two things and put them together, and that's what a series like Lemons is perfect for. 24 Hours of Lemons, you build something ridiculous and go out and race the piss out of it. So you're actually racing these things. These aren't just parade floats. You're balls out racing. Now, granted, some of them like the upside down Camaro. You're actually driving a Ford Festiva wearing an inverted Camaro body. It's not fast. You had 60 horsepower on day one. Now you've got 200,000 miles and an extra car on top.
Yeah.
So it's not that fast.
That one might have been team rolling chicane a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But Driven in Anger, it wasn't actually held its own. It wasn't that bad. It was a lot better than you would think. But these cars, I get to be super creative with them and build stuff nobody's seen before. And I love doing that. I love being a pioneer. I love doing things first, and my stuff gets copied a lot, which I think is the mark of achieving what you're trying to do.
You.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that an upside-down Camaro looks an awful lot like a boat. There's not much difference between an upside-down F-body Camaro and the hull of a lake boat.
Our code name was going to be Dead Catfish, but we couldn't put that online because it'd be giveaway, right? I mean, that's a Catfish, the fourth gen Camaro.
But Lemons is what, 13, 14 years old at this point? When did it start?
2006.
Wow, you're getting
Altamont in 06,
okay,
I
so
think.
we're getting on 17 years.
Yeah.
What did you do before that?
I did the usual, like, dirt track racing, drag racing, demolition derbies, stadium tough truck racing.
Okay.
Other things. And I was creative with some of the cars. I had some viral videos back in 05, 06 when that wasn't a thing
Street Fire?
yet. That was Break.com. It was, I guess, BigBoys.com. Changed to Break.com because the Big Boys name was throwing people off.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait. You're telling me this isn't porn?
It's not the association we're going for,
Yeah.
So
Break.com. I remember Break.com.
I had like an Acura Legend. It was the old 90 model with the V6, and I cut off everything. So I cut off the A pillar and everything behind the front seats. So it was just the front wheels, the hood, and dragging the
dragging
the gas tank and the passenger floor and the computer on top of it, because actually a computer was rear mounted in that car too. So it was just a mess in that passenger side. And I was just in my yard doing wheelies backwards, just standing on it, and then bang back down again. And then at some point I got the bright idea to put like a transverse leaf spring or whatever in there and wheelbarrow wheels or something to make it ride nicer. But yeah. So this stuff, like I said, this was viral back in the day, 05, 06. I took a Dodge Spirit and folded the back half over the front half and did a video called The Forward Roll, where I stomped the brake and rolled it end over end.
Oh, yeah.
And went up upside down like scooting roll.
Fucking rad.
I
dumb stuff.
think I may have remembered that one.
Yeah, that's going way back. Yeah,
that's
almost 2 decades
real
ago.
early internet stuff.
Right. So this is all pre-Lemons.
Yeah.
And then I had 2009. I heard about Lemons, and I'm like, this sounds like my people. Like these are.
I am home.
I had a Lincoln Mark 8 dirt track car, and it was ragged out.
Mark 8 dirt track, and not even a Mark 7, a Mark 8 with the
Mark
mod
8
motor,
with the mod motor,
round one,
and
like
it was
independent suspension. Like that was a good car.
It was
actually.
a good car, and I brought the first one to the local dirt track, and then everybody else says that's a good idea. Now the series still runs, and it's still half Mark 8s and half like LT1 Caprices. Yeah. So, and my Mark 8 was so bad. Like, you could take the front wheels and move them laterally like 2 inches because it was a ragged out dirt car. And we didn't care because it did fine on the dirt. So now we're on the asphalt in Carolina Motorsports Park racing Lemons with it, and it's handled like ass. I mean, it wasn't ideal at all. But seeing the people there, seeing the creativity and stuff like that, I'm like, I got to build something different. I got to build something cool. And that's kind of what spawned it. And then from there, I get all these bad ideas. First one we did the Mark 8. Then we did a pink Cadillac Nelson Ledges, Ohio. They only raced there once. It was a true 24. And we ran a '61 pink Cadillac blaring Sinatra on a loudspeaker through the grill for the whole time. And one of our drivers, my buddy Mike, gets flagged on like Sunday afternoon. And like, what did I do? And they said, you had your arm on the windowsill. He's like, I'm driving a pink Cadillac blaring Sinatra. And Jay Lamb, who owns the series, goes, you're fine, get back out there, you know. But then it was the '63 Thunderbird, and that was a cool car that blew up the trans in the first race. We actually took the whole night Saturday and took the transmission apart. It was an automatic. We couldn't get another one. I thought it was a C6. It's not. It's the older FMX or something. So we didn't have parts for it. So we welded the internals together, stood the trans on its end, filled the torque converter, put the little plug back on the torque converter, put it back in the car. We had a 1-speed direct drive.
Direct drive?
Yes.
Oh
so
my
we had
God.
like
So
5
did
of
you
my
have to, like,
teammates
push start
pushing
it?
me to push start me, and they had already cleared me. They already checked my harness and everything, so I could push start onto the track and just keep going.
Holy shit.
And it
You
worked for
converted a
about
car
20
for
direct drive.
during a race?
It worked for about 20 glorious minutes, and everybody saw us thrashing on this. They saw us trying to fix this and get it going. And we're out Ginger Man Raceway in Michigan, and then we get it out there, and the corner workers are like doing this as they come around and stuff like that. It was awesome. And then the motor kaboomed, and when I say kaboomed, I saw a fireball inside the cabin. That's not a good thing, you know. But this was a convertible Thunderbird that was so flimsy that the rear leaf springs had come through the floor already. I had to use the roll cage, just like a tube chassis, to hold them down. So
and 63,
it was a
that would
mess.
have been a round bird, right? That's the round bird. They had some real awkward years, the Thunderbirds. The round bird was
really
like
fugly for a few
and
of
then
those
remember
years.
the Space Cowboy one?
Yeah.
I think it was like 65 to 67.
Although the swivel seats were cool.
The swivel seats were
They
cool.
were very cool.
But the exterior was cowboy, and then the interior was outer space. It was like great.
Yeah.
They couldn't decide if they wanted to be on the ranch or at the space station with that car. Fucking weird.
So that motor kaboomed. Then I had a BMW V12. It was a 90-something 750. Yep.
Yeah.
And the motor had caught fire and burned up. And so I had this motor
Before
that I knew.
you had it.
No, unfortunately, it happened in my yard. So I had it running and all that, and it caught fire and burned up. So now I have this crispy motor that I knew ran. So I took an ammo can, cut it down, made an adapter plate, put a holly on it, made 12 intake runners, made flanges, and I made this thing run with an ammo can and a carburetor and HEI distributors, like $50 each on eBay for like a Jeep. You know, the one-wire distributors?
Yeah.
So I had 2 of them. Sucker ran. We took it to Summit Point. It was running, and then it spit the water pump out. And we're like, no. So my buddy Ron.
I can't believe it, bro.
Well, you got that right? Shocker.
Yeah.
Unobtainium water pump.
But
Now, this
still.
is Saturday morning. We're calling around Beamer dealers. This is like a $700 water pump, and this is going back to 2009, 2010. Which that's out of our possible price range. And it was in like Long Island, and they were closing in like 2 hours, and there's no way to get it, right? We're at Summit Point. So we sent Ron to Ohio to Summit Racing to buy like a universal electric, and he comes back, and we didn't have the right fittings. We had I duct taped and everything else. It didn't work. It popped off like a lap bin. So we had all of 2 laps in this BMW V12, carbureted. The pictures are glorious, but it's billowing smoke as it's going around the track.
That's like one of the things that, like, you are clearly enjoy the process of figuring this kind of shit
And
out.
I love the challenge, right?
But God, I just want to drive the fucking car on the racetrack. So if that was my weekend, I would have hung myself,
Yes.
off of the fucking flag stand at Summit Point. but for certain type of people, and you find these people at Lemons, and you find them at Champ Car and all that, where 48 hours of wrenching and sending people to other states for parts is the hero fix that they're looking for. But just to take this 5 minutes back, you made a BMW V12 work with no BMW parts upstream of the cylinder heads?
Well, we had it was our intake and our distributors right on that old V12. And it actually sounded really good. Like everybody was really impressed at the track
it was a
listening
single
to it.
carburetor?
Single carburetor.
Wait,
an
I don't
old
want to
ammo
disrespect you.
can.
You said it was our distributors and our intakes and things. Now, does that mean like you were running a shop and you guys do this fab work? Because you said ammo
This is all
can
done in my
backyard.
driveway.
That's what I thought. You're
so
like,
what it is,
our
the team is called Speedy Cop and the Gang of Outlaws.
Yeah.
And the Gang of Outlaws are whatever buddies are available to come over and help build stuff. And I have some great guys. And they're a little pissed at me right now because I went and moved to Tennessee on them. I've been Southern Maryland near D.C. and they're in Maryland, Virginia and all. So I've kind of left them hanging. Now they have a 9-hour drive each way to come hang out and build stuff. So it kind of sucks.
Did you build a little guest
We have
cabin
guest
going
quarters.
on?
We have a beautiful 5th wheel. I'm building a guest bedroom in a loft in the shop above the office
There
we're
you
building.
go.
So it's going to be all set.
What are
nice.
you building the bedroom out of? Because you
Wood from the property. We
wood.
bought a 20-acre mountaintop in Tennessee, and it's spectacular. And I'm right by the tail of the Dragon, which is a mecca for sports cars and motorcycles. I mean, where else would
Yeah,
I
it
be?
is.
Like that's the
I'll
spot.
be there next week.
Fantastic.
Yeah, with Road and Track, where we're driving
Nice.
Tail of the Dragon.
And you're coming by.
It's beautiful.
So I
I'd
also
love to
have
come
an
see it.
810-foot zip line. You're going to have to ride it.
The fuck out of here. Really?
It is badass.
Who made it? And
I did. Yeah. You go about 80 feet off the deck. No, it's legit. I actually bought professional stuff. Yeah.
Is it made out of
I could
Jeep
send a Ford
It's
Explorer.
amazing. The first half was incredible, and then I broke my spine.
So yeah, it is a lot of fun though.
I bet.
cool.
That's cool. But everything you're describing is weird,
Yeah.
but not the kind
Fairly
of
conventional
but not the
weird,
kind of
right.
weird you're known for. What you've
Right.
talked about so far is shitbox Lemons cars fixed in unconventional
making 'em
ways.
work. Well, it got weirder as we
when did you
progressed.
dive really far into left field?
So we yanked that V12 out and we put a BMW 524 TD in, which is the same motor that came in Lincoln Mark 7 for a hot minute. It was a 4-cylinder diesel, turbo diesel, but out of a BMW. Like I said, it's pretty unorthodox.
Wait,
we made it
there
work.
was a point that a BMW shared a motor with a Lincoln Mark
The
7?
524 TD. Yeah.
I have never heard of that.
Right? It's obscure as hell.
Was that ever sold in America?
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I got one.
And there was a diesel Mark 7 sold in America at the
was.
same time?
Yep.
Those two vehicles, I'm pretty
Super.
encyclopedic when it comes to this
Super
sort of
scarce.
stuff.
Yeah.
Never even heard of the existence
gonna
of
pull it
either of
up.
those. I mean, I believe you,
It
but
exists.
like,
I'm trying to find.
I
it's-
can't believe
it's pretty-
BMW. And who manufactured the engine?
I think it was a BMW motor.
a BMW
that
motor?
Ford licensed or something. I'm not 100% sure on that.
That's
It's been so long
interesting.
ago. I mean, that was 2010. But no, it ran great with that. We won the IOE, which is a grand prize in Lemons, Index of Fluency. And that was the first of
Which, for those who don't know, describe what that is. It's
basically being the most ridiculous vehicle out there, and you race the piss out of it all weekend, and it just blows the judges away. It has no business usually being on a racetrack.
Yeah.
It's just such a bad car.
doing
that-
the best with the worst.
Correct.
But the worst
Yeah.
has to be pretty far into worst.
They love the weirdness. They
Yeah.
love the out there
Yeah.
stuff. So if you break the internet when you debut the car
this.
on Friday, you have a good shot at the.
A 1984 Lincoln Continental Givenchy turbo diesel went as a BMW, not a BMW.
This is one of them.
So
Wow, so
maybe
that-
it wasn't in the Mark 8. Maybe
I
it was
think
in
it might have
this.
been in the Continental.
Okay, maybe I have it mixed up. It's been so many years ago.
Because a Mark 7 was a Fox body car.
Right, Fox body base.
But I mean, this is like a four-door Mark 7. They must share the same trunk lid with that Continental tire kit.
But these had that beautiful 9-inch
no,
rear
I
with
found
disc
something
brakes.
else that said it was shared with a Lincoln Mark
The Mark 7? Oh, okay.
But the only website I found that on in short time was from Germany. So maybe the BMW was sold there, but the Lincoln was here. Or did you find the BMW
I don't
here?
recall.
I don't know.
I just know that they also used them in the Fords, the Lincolns.
Okay.
Interesting.
But,
All right. Well,
yeah, that was a
Yeah,
obscure
it was a
BMW at the
it seemed
time.
like it was a BMW engine.
Probably a major collectible that I shouldn't have snatched the motor out of because it was a
Probably.
running
Like $1
driving
million.
car for $500
yeah,
bucks, and that
Myron
was my
Vernus
engine
would
donor.
spend $50,000 on one of those right now.
Yeah. Jay used to always give residual values. I guess he still does. And your residual value, like it's a $500 limit, right? But if he says the car is worth, he told me 2 extra large pieces at $35.
Yeah.
So then you could spend another $465. So that's what I've got that motor and all, and then you scrap the rest of the car and part it out and actually make money on it. So.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. Okay, so you put this diesel motor in a 750.
No, we put the
Oh.
diesel motor in that same Thunderbird.
Oh, it was in the Thunderbird.
That was the
Okay.
third time we campaigned that Thunderbird. And this time it ran all weekend, didn't miss a beat. We won the IOE. So.
Okay, all right.
And then it got weirder from there, as I have been known to do. The next one up was the Lancia Scorpion that we took, this 76 Lancia Scorpion, which the underside was just rotten. Drivetrain was
That's
unreliable.
every Lancia.
And Jay says, you should probably swap that with Toyota motor or something. So I took that to the next level and bought a wrecked MR2, cut the body off the wrecked MR2 and dropped the Lancia like a hat car. We've done a lot of hat cars.
Yeah.
And it was a great car. Randy Popes drove it, and there it is. He drove
It actually looks pretty
Joliet.
decent. Like it just
Yeah.
looks like a Lancia. The proportions are right.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. We were a little off on the wheelbase. We fudged that. We cut the fenders out a bit. I actually put like 18s on it at one point. It looked really cool. We did a whole. I'm trying to think of the name of the.
What was the Cadillac?
Not Stratos. We did a whole rally theme with it. We did the paint job and Ultimate.
You did a Delta Integrale?
I don't
or
think so.
037?
I'm trying to remember what it was. Martini. is what it
Oh
was.
yeah, the Martini. Yeah, well, that's
So
a
the red,
bunch
white,
of the
and blue.
Lancia cars were the Martini livery. Yeah.
So that car was, once we saw it, it was really good. Now, when Randy Popes drove it at Joliet, I didn't realize, this is such a scramble. You got to realize that most of these builds happen a few weeks before the race. These are not sorted, tested cars. These are cars being finished at the track while everybody else is already through tech and going out. So I didn't realize that the control arms in the rear didn't have the bolts in them. The bolts were there, but they were backed all the way out. So Randy's going around the track, and the car is changing lane on its own, and we're like, what the heck's going on? He's like, this is an unsafe car. We get under it, and that was the problem.
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah, like
once
a
it was
regular
sorted,
driver would notice that, but Randy is one of the most like in tune. You know, Randy
He
can be
knows.
like, you need to add 5 pounds of spring rate in the rear. Like, you know, he
Exactly.
can come up with shit that you never thought of.
and he's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we campaigned that one day. That was our second IOE with that thing, and we actually ran that like 10 or 12 races before we finally got crashed out on the track and it was done. That's the risk you take with everything you build, you put on track. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, we've
but
lost a few on
still,
the track.
we're still by your standards. That is
Fairly
a
conventional.
relatively normal car.
Because it's
Body
part of which
swapping.
it's made from cars.
Yes.
As we get to
Yeah.
later in your story.
It's made from cars and
Shop elsewhere.
The end result looks like a car.
The windshield is up instead of
it looks
down.
like a regular car.
Yeah, this is a wheels
Okay.
down.
So yes,
situation.
it just gets weirder from there. So I'm at the junkyard one day with my buddy Doug, and there's a pop-up camper out in front of the junkyard. And I said to the guys, "What are you doing with that thing?" And they said, "Well, we pull the bodies off, and people dump them out here. They knock the bodies off because it's all that particle board and stuff, and they take and sell the frame for a utility trailer. They get a couple $100 for the frame." I said, "Well, I don't want the frame, but I want the body. Like, take it. Just give us
Free.
back the frame. It's yours, free." So 2011, we took this pop-up camper race car out on the track. It was on an X90 Suzuki, and it looked as it went around the track like
another car that's so rare it's actually collectible.
Right,
A terrible car.
the ones
but
that nobody wanted. So they debuted it, right? It
when
had
was the last
T-tops.
time
It was
you
like
saw an X90 like in any kind of decent shape?
not in person.
I mean, I
I
can't.
still have this one.
I can't
I've used it for
remember
multiple
seeing
races.
one on the road. Believe me, if I saw one on the road today, I would do a fucking double take.
So-
I think it's been 10 years.
You almost have to play the clip because it's just going around the track. So you got to realize on Friday, and we did a whole trailer trash theme with this. Like my wife had the e-cigarette or whatever, and she had the baby doll, and we had the dog, and we were all like, we did the whole white trash thing up, right?
the
'Cause we're racing a
video of it
pop-up
going
camper.
What in the ever?
So
It looks like the trailer came, like someone's hitch got disconnected and the shit is just running wild.
Right.
And you have the idling wheels on the side, so it really
which they
really
didn't last. They
sells
blew
it.
out pretty quick.
And
They were
you're
$10
kinda keeping
wheelbarrow
pace
wheels.
with the other cars there. I mean, you're getting past, but you're not
It wasn't
going
too
10
awful,
under. It's
right?
like
Yeah,
3
yeah.
under.
How is
So-
the visibility out of that thing?
Oh, it was
It's gotta be
fine.
great.
It was fine. Yeah, it really wasn't bad at all.
Center driving position.
It didn't have a roof when I got it, so we took and made that out of like foam and 2x4s.
And how do you
stuff.
do a driver change?
Right through the window. We used that same X90 later on for the hot dog stand car, and it was the same thing right through the window.
So what did you build a sort of outrigger system on the X90 to sort
we
of
did,
Yeah,
and it's a
right.
full frame body on frame vehicle, so you get the ladder frame. So we built this nice heavy duty platform, and I still have this thing. And now I'm thinking like I need to do a train, like a steam train car with this Ranger I just raced with Cletus McFarlane, Danger Ranger, and I need to do that as a caboose, like the old red caboose,
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
flat tow it on a rally and get to like Barber and unhook it and race them both. Because that'd be sick, right? I mean, I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, you'd really, if people thought you were towing a camper, but what you were actually towing was the race car,
Right.
it would really be fucked up. Sorry, folks, got to take a quick break from the action for Blackview dash cams. Are you tired of driving with your fingers crossed, hoping nothing will happen on the road? Do you wish you could drive worry-free, knowing you have an extra set of eyes watching over your vehicle? All you need is the new Blackview DR970X dash cam, which combines 4K video quality, reliability, and cloud connectivity in one compact package. Whether you're a professional driver or a cautious car owner, the Blackview DR970X is the perfect companion for your journeys. With its state-of-the-art technology, this dash cam captures everything that happens on the road in stunning detail, providing you with crystal clear video evidence in case of an accident. And thanks to its cloud connectivity, you can access your footage from anywhere, anytime, using that Blackview app. Rest easy when you leave your car parked outside. The DR970X comes with native parking mode, which means it can be hardwired to your vehicle's fuse panel out of the box while preventing your car's battery from draining. Parking mode will activate automatically when the ignition is switched off and keep guard on your vehicle. Thanks to the video buffer, the few seconds leading to impact on motion detection events are also recorded. That means in case of a hit and run on your parked vehicle, you'll have video proof of exactly what happened before and after the fact. Paired with Blackview Cloud, your dash cam will automatically save event videos to the cloud in real time, just as they happen. That way you could have valuable evidence even if your dash cam gets unplugged or stolen. The DR970X series comes in single and dual camera versions. The front camera captures every little detail in crisp 4K UHD quality, and the rear camera comes with a full HD Sony Starvis image sensor, ensuring best clarity under any light
light. There's also a version for taxi and Uber drivers with an infrared driver-facing camera. Get the best dash cam protection and reliability on the market today with the Blackview DR970X series dash cams. Go to blackview.com/TST. That's BLACKVUE.com/TST to learn more about the Blackview DR970X series dash cam. Promo code TIRE gets you 10% off any Blackview dash cam or parking mode accessory. Free shipping for over $200 orders. We are also brought to you by Game Time. I love Game Time. Game Time made it so easy for me to get some courtside WNBA tickets for my wife's birthday last month. It was awesome. It was usually buying tickets can be stressful, right? You gotta like race people, to buy them when they go on sale, and then you're waiting maybe to the last minute, hunting down the best price. You got to compete with everybody else for a popular event. It shouldn't be. It should be easy, and that's where Game Time comes in. It's the fast and easy way to buy tickets for sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. There's crazy deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, so you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped through the fun you have. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. Game Time has amazing, easy interface that shows you where the seats are with images of the seat views of the stage, of the court, of the field. They've got that lowest price guarantee. They've got event cancellation protection. They've got job loss protection, etc., all built into the app. And it is the place for last-minute ticket deals, so you don't have to plan months in advance. They've got deals on tickets right up until the day of the event. You can get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And that Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. That's why it is the fastest growing ticketing app in the country. It's for a reason, folks. Get those tickets without stress on Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SMOKINGTIRE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account with Game Time, download that app, and redeem code SMOKINGTIRE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Now back to the show.
There's
the Speedy's Weenies, yeah.
And then there's the hot dog stand, right? Was that the same underneath, just with a different
same
hat on it?
X90. Yep, we built a new steel framework for it and did the tin roof and all on it. And that thing, now we raced Jersey Motorsports Park with it. We ran top third. We were way ahead of people in the standings on end of Saturday. It poured monsoon rains all day Saturday, and the officials were clear up front. There's rivers across the track. It means total washout. You start crashing, you're done. We're red flag and all. People behaved all day Saturday. So for 10 and a half hours, we raced in the heaviest downpour you've ever seen. I mean, balls out racing. I had that 500-pound building on top of the Suzuki X90 with little skinny, 185s.
Probably great in the rain.
I was doing great. I was passing 944s and E30s. I mean, I'm going around these things in a freaking hot dog stand. That's a 500-pound building on top.
Whoa. Yeah,
and
what we're
we were
looking
so
at
far
for,
up
the,
in the
for the
standings.
audio version is literally like a tin shack with it's fake bricks, right? Those are not real bricks.
That faux panel
and like a great fence. And it looks like a hot dog stand that you'd find at a farmer's market or at a carnival or something. And it's fucking hilarious.
Speedy's Weenies. So the story behind it was we were raising money for Bella Reed Pitbull Rescue because we love dogs. My wife and I are big time dog people. Most of my teammates are too. So we were giving away hot dogs all weekend, just taking donations, give away hot dogs. It was all out of pocket. And then we're like, we should race a hot dog stand if we're doing this,
perfect
charity for the dogs. So we raced that, and it was a good visual gag. I mean, seeing the reactions. Not as good as the camper, because we hit the NASCAR track in New Hampshire with the camper.
Yeah.
Remember the race workers inspected it, or Jay's people inspected it on Friday for safety. We did a whole trailer trash team and did it up. Go out there on Saturday morning, and none of those NASCAR flaggers had any idea that it was one of many campers in the paddock, and it pulled out on track, started racing. To see their eyes pop out, their jaws drop, and they're all waving cautions because the race is about to start. You got 100 cars on track, and they're about to drop the green. and the flags dropped and the eyes popped, and the next lap around, they're trying to wave with one hand with their phone with the other, and they're trying to give me a thumbs up, and I love watching these faces melt. I absolutely love it. So that's my goal. If you can't grab your phone out fast enough when you see whatever I've built, I've done my job.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And I say it's a we effort. Usually it's a whole group of us, but I'm the
the
idiot
psycho
in
that
charge.
comes up with the
I come up
ideas?
with all the stuff.
Okay.
I go and source the vehicles, the parts and stuff like that, and I lead the builds, and I'll generally have a large amount of time in each one, and then my buddies, whenever they can come out and help, they'll come out and help, and they really, they'll facepalm a lot. They'll be like, "We're doing what? Are you serious?" It's like the Honda accordion. We're gonna slice this perfectly good running accord in half, and we're gonna make a telescope. Why? Like, you want it to go fast or not? I'm like, yeah. So I had plans on the accordion. I had plans for articulating, adjustable wheelbase on the fly, hydraulically, and articulation. And Lemons, people said, hell no.
No, that's
you're not.
so shady.
Yeah, they said it's going to have to go. You're going to have to build massive stops for the rear cage stays to go back into and giant grade 8 bolts, or it's not going to race. I'm like, it was a good idea in theory.
Week.
But that was a fast
See
car.
that Audi concept
Did
from
you
like
actually
6 months ago that had the extending wheelbase? You were like,
did.
I thought of that.
Yeah.
Did you actually build it other than the safety stuff?
No, we built the accordion. We ran it like 10 races.
Oh, really?
These are cars that were campaigned over years.
I don't remember the accordion. That's the only one of yours I don't think I've ever
It was too
heard
good of a pun not to build it. And that's like almost all of my stuff is original. Now, obviously, Jurassic Park Explorer, we raced that. It wasn't original. The Wagon Queen family trucks for vacation, that wasn't original.
Right.
It's just iconic movie cars that I liked personally, so we did
look
them.
at that, the accordion.
But
it looks exactly like you think it would look, like one of those bendy buses, but out of a Honda Accord.
So that was Motor Trend, like 2007. They did a weird sketch of it. They're doing spoof on vehicle names. They did the Honda accordion. And I looked at that and I went, that's too good of a pun. I have to build this car, So, and it was a quick car. Now we had, the transmissions are glass. It was the automatic, the 3-liter, the automatic. Fast car, blow a trans, when we're about to win every race. It was just like the one race we were way in the lead trying to win Class B. And my teammate got flagged for pulling onto the track too fast, not in the hot pits, but like the merge onto the track. And we're like, what? How is that a thing? How can you? Anyway, so he had to walk around the paddock for a little while with a sign that said, I'll go slower next time or something. And that cost us. That was the only thing we haven't won in Lemons is that Class B, that elusive Class B, because I've got the overall, I've got.
What's Class B?
So the fastest cars are Class A.
Oh,
then Class B is the faster cars, but not
okay.
quite, the E30s and stuff. So the
Winning
Accord
Class
fit in the
B
Class
with
B.
this.
Yeah, and then C is the weird, slow, unusual. That's what I'm usually in, obviously.
Yeah.
But I do like to go fast, and people sometimes see our weird stuff and think, oh, they just do the oddities, they don't go fast. And no, we have our overall win in Lemons. We did it.
What did you drive?
It's a Honda Civic.
Oh,
and it wasn't a fast Honda Civic either. We did tortoise in the hair thing because this was Ginger Man. When you come off the track at Ginger Man, you got to go all the way around the paddock before you can go back on. That's the rule. That way it's fair for everybody. It's like a 5-minute tour around the paddock. We did a hypermile car. We did 3.5-hour stints in a slow Civic. We were getting the paint sucked off on the track, but we stayed on track while everybody else was pitting. And one had like 15 minutes before the end of the race, I already had it in the bag. So it worked out for us.
Civics they're just so great to race. We raced with Overzet.
Yeah, my buddy Chris.
In one of his Civics. I think this little fucking thing had done 19 or 20 races on one engine.
And he punched in the stomach, didn't he?
Yeah, he does that.
He does that.
Yeah.
He's my brother from another mother.
No, he's legit. I love the guy. He's out of his mind.
Yeah.
But we had so much fun. That Civic was so fun to drive. It had like 110 horsepower.
He knows those
but
cars
it
so
handled
well.
so great, and it worked. It stayed alive the whole race. It was great. They're a killer.
He brings a lot of people into Lemons too. Like we did over the years, we would do a lot of arrive and drives to pay for this because you got to pay for it somehow. My salary wasn't cutting it, so people pay for seat time, and then you build all the weird stuff. And I was doing this where I'm building 4 cars a year, and then I'd want to race it once, and automotive ADHD kicks in. I'm like, boom, that car's old news. Next thing, My teammates are like, just perfect one and campaign it. I'm like, that's what everybody else does. I'm not interested.
He kept trying
in
to get me to drive the silly car because he'd bring like 3 regular Hondas and then some crazy
like the Titanic
fucking
limo.
wacky shit.
Yeah.
He'd be like, dude, and I'm like, I am not paying you to lap a fucking limo at 30 miles an hour in a race.
With the crew set.
If I'm going to pay you to race, I want a race car. Yeah. So whatever the fastest one you got is, I want a seat in that car.
So I used to try to screen the arriving drives because you have some guys that just want to go fast. Well, you have cars for them. We had cars we were trying to win the overall, and we had seats for them. But then we had cars that were just the weird stuff. And listen, like Chris used to say, this is a car on a racetrack, not a race car.
Yeah.
So there was a few of those, like the pop-up camper, where we knew it's a stock Suzuki X90. It's a gutless 1.6, making no power, hauling this heavy camper body around.
Brakes are not going to hold up.
They're not going to hold up. They're not going to cool, So just go out there and circulate all week, and we won the IOE. The IOE was the goal. So these drivers knew up front. We're just going to stay on track as much as possible. We had a Porsche arrive and drive guy that was, I can go slow, don't worry. No, it was rev limit all the way around the track until he melted the head. And we spent all night TIG welding and stuff trying to get the head back together, and it lasted like 2 laps the next day.
Oh, bummer.
We still got the IOE because some of these cars, when you campaign them, like the first time you reveal them or whatever, they break the internet. Like the Upside Down Camaro was the
what is
biggest
IOE
one. Like,
again?
The
index of effluence.
doing
grand
the
price.
best with the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the
that
Upside
is
Down
the top price
Camaro.
elements.
That was I think the first time I was like, hang on a minute, who the fuck is this guy? And then I was like, this is the same guy who did the camper? Like, holy shit, what's the deal here?
Yeah.
So the Upside Down Camaro, I think, is my favorite of your builds because I don't know. I think it's because it's hilarious to look at, but it's also like because it's a Camaro, like it
belongs on the track.
It belongs on the track, and something about the proportions of it really look good. It's unlike the pop up camper. It's actually kind of like aesthetically pleasing.
I think so.
You know what I mean?
I'm actually trying to buy it back from Jay because it belongs back in the stable.
Yeah.
So Jay Land bought it off me. Lemons they've had it for years, and they let me use it whenever I want to for media stuff. We've done different TV things and all. Jay Leno drove me around on that car for his show in San Fran. So I still go out there and drive it sometimes. But
So what's on a Festiva's underneath that?
Yeah, 90 Festiva. Well, I think they upgraded to like a 91 to get it EPA legal out here.
So did you take the Camaro apart piece by piece and reassemble it upside down, or did you like get a rotisserie or something?
It's easier than you'd think on that car because the doors are fiberglass. The fenders, we got rid of the hood altogether. The fenders are plastic, and the bumper cover is plastic and all that. So that part's all really light. Just took a square tube, made a framework, and hung the panels. The rear was a different story because you got all those multiple layers of metal. So you have to take a saw and a torch and everything else and just keep cutting and whittling away. And the ass end was a lot heavier because of that. But I mean, look, the park, those are the same wheels that came on that Camaro. It was a V6 convertible. It was rotten interior. I think they had just swapped the motor in, but the trans went out or something, so it didn't even drive, So I want to say I paid like $600 or $800 for it, then I sold a bunch of stuff off and like made money on it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was like $1,800 all in on that car. 3
That
weeks
one
in my driveway.
looks pretty good.
Paint and all. I'm talking about all in.
Yeah, like the body, I mean, at least in the photos I've seen, it's in pretty good shape.
Yeah,
it looks like a clean car.
And it has the cleanest paint of any Lemons car I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's
But
really
it's
good.
all
Really good.
50 footers now. These are all sprayed by me in the yard. And I'm not a painter, so.
But
it
the
looked
fact
cool.
is you painted it, and where
Yes.
most Lemons
I picked
cars
the
are
color.
whatever
It was
color
white.
they came
Yeah, I
as.
picked that color because it's a great color. Like I said, I want that one back in the stable. It's just too much fun to drive.
Yeah.
It really is.
Where
Was
did
it-
you get the skill and know-how to do this weird shit? One of our commenters said, you seem more like an engineer than a police officer. The other commenter said you seem like a mechanic in Cuba because you're I want to shout out to Carlos. That was a
Which
funny
a
joke.
Cuban theme, I think, would be fun.
Like you're just getting whatever parts you can.
Yeah.
But like, where did this come from? How did you develop
So
these
just
skills?
very overactive imagination. Now, when I was in college, and I was going to be a cop, I was studying criminal justice. I got tired of getting ripped off at the dealership on a Mustang I had. It was just a 4-cylinder Mustang. It was before I was into like racing and everything. This is probably early '92. Right, and I got tired. Like they told me it was 2 minutes, a lift, and special tools to change the fuel pump on the Mustang when mine went out. So it was like $500 in '92 for a broke college student. Like that's a world of money.
Yeah.
And then I find out, you can do it by yourself in like 20 minutes with a hammer and a flat screwdriver, a floor jack. Like it's no big deal. So I'm like, I'm not getting ripped off again. So I bought the manual because this is pre-internet. You had to buy the Haynes manual for the car and read through it and figure it out. And you just get bolder as you go. So for your listeners who don't go hands-on, who pay somebody. Listen, guys and gals.
You don't forget the listeners. I don't
get
do
the.
it.
Well, now you have YouTube, which is a tremendous resource. Go
Yeah.
on there. You can find videos for whatever you want to do and save the money. Don't pay them $100 whatever an hour it is now for mechanic work, if you can do it yourself.
True.
And then like the welder, I bought a welder, played with the settings, and there's a lot I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I'm self-taught, so there's a lot I don't know. But what I have done works. So if I can do
come
it,
up
anybody
with a
can do
method
it.
and like then you hang out with a professional and they're like, here's how you, and you go, that's how I'm supposed to do this?
No, like, wait, I'm
like a
supposed to heat
one-day
the aluminum
welding
up
class.
before I weld it? What?
Yeah, just play with the settings.
So I do actually want to take some classes because, like I said, there's so much that I don't know. What I'm doing works, but I want to expand my knowledge base, and I want to learn how to do things the right way and like work with sheet metal. Like right now, I take a vise and 2 pieces of angle iron, and I try to bend pieces to fix the tail on my plane where I just tore it up a few weeks ago. But this is, bear in mind, this is the airplane that's street legal. It's been driven all over
it's
the
not an
U.S. for
actual-
10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's sort of
The
the.
spirit of lemons.
Yeah, indeed.
pulled it up?
Quite the spirit of Lemons.
Well, yeah. So after the upside down Camaro, then it was the sideways
So we did.
Microbus.
It was 2013 was a big year because March was the airplane car, Spirit of Lemons. Then it was the upside down Camaro in August, and then in September, October, it was an Oktoberfest race in New Hampshire. So we did Oktoberfest theme, and we raced the accordion, and we all wore, the girls wore their dirndls, and we wore the lederhosen, and danced around with beer steins and had a good time with it.
Perfect.
It was perfect. And the weather was perfect too, being late October. Up in
And the plane was what is some kind of a Cessna.
San Diego, right there.
Right.
Ripley's, believe it or not, as part of Comic-Con.
Oh, that's cool.
We had a blast with it. And I even had like Jay and Silent Bob saw me driving that around San Diego, like, oh my God, I love it. I stopped, I'm like, go drive it, take it, fellas, have fun with it. Nah, we're filming, we can't right now.
Yeah.
Cool dudes.
Oh, dude, Kevin Smith is the man.
Yeah.
So what does it take? Because it's one thing to turn a plane into a race car. It's another, which is crazy enough on its own.
No one's done that, but
No one's done that.
do that.
But you found a way to make it street legal.
Yes.
How do you do that?
So the easiest way, depending on the state you're in, you have to have a state that lets you title the vehicle that it's based on. And so certain states won't allow it.
Right.
Like I could not tag my Trippy Tippy Hippie van, which is the VW van that drives on its side.
Right.
It's actually mounted on an 88 Rabbit, but it's a 76 camper. I can't tag that. I couldn't tag it when I was in Maryland because it had one-way vinyl on the front. I have to check Tennessee code to see if I can or not because I really want to tag this thing. But when you got one-way vinyl on the front windows and that violates it, that's going to be a problem. So, but like this is sitting on an 87 Toyota van chassis, and you wouldn't think, let me find an old Toyota van, the ugly ones before the Previa, as your basis for your race car. But I thought it through, and I'm like, they've got torsion bars in the front, they've got a narrow track, a short wheelbase, mid-engine, rear-wheel drive. It checked every box. I'm like, I need to go find one of these vans, and it worked beautifully.
I have a Delica that's the Japanese, the Mitsubishi one, and it's like
they're
actually
awesome.
the dynamics of this are all right. Yeah.
And they're rugged as hell. They're still used the world over.
Yeah.
These old ones from the 80s, they run the road every day with full loads of people that, exceed the manufacturer's specs,
Yeah, for sure.
And they have for decades.
So it's registered as an 87 Toyota.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes. And it has the horn and lights and all that stuff works, so.
Is it weird as hell to drive it on the street?
It isn't for me, but I'm really used to it. It's weird as hell for people who have never seen it before to see it.
Is it really susceptible to crosswind?
No, it's not as bad as you'd think.
Really?
That was my
But
concern.
Is it quiet going forward into headwind because of the slipstream?
It is very quiet, and you get no airflow. It's not on there in this picture, but there's other pictures. I have a little chrome plastic elbow on that driver's window.
The ducts air.
I'm in Las Vegas back in 2019 driving this. It's 117 actual temperature, and I'm dying. You're sitting on top of the motor, so the heat radiates up. Right? There's no airflow coming in, and actual temp was 117. I'm like heat stroking out.
Yeah.
So I pull into an AutoZone in Vegas, and I go in there and I find a little chrome elbow for like a Civic intake, aftermarket. And I took up a couple self-tappers, and to this day, that's the best AC unit because once you get moving, it's blasting the air right in your face, and it feels wonderful.
Guys, got to take a quick break for Bird Dogs. I love these shorts and pants. They are great. They sent me some shorts. They sent me some pants. I've been wearing the pants on hikes, been wearing the shorts in the gym, and actually in the pool too. They make a good bathing suit. They really do. Bird Dogs make you look good. Their stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. Even for me, I don't have slim thighs and leg, but that doesn't mean that I need to wear big, bulky, boxy shorts. Shape is good, even if you're a bigger dude, right? Bird Dog shorts, they do the same thing as the Lululemon shorts, but they fit way better. And they fit better than regular shorts made of stiff, restricting cotton. Bird Dogs fix the issue by inventing a cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki, but stretches so you can get a slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement when you sit, when you work out, when you run, when you're driving. Bird Dogs has an anti-stink, sweat-wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. Plus, super comfortable. They're just super comfortable. I wear the pants on the hikes, especially now. They haven't mowed the trails in a while and edged them. And so there's lots of overgrown kind of tall grasses and stuff, and they get pollen and I don't want to get ticks, any of that. So I've been hiking in these long pants, which is weird for me. But the Bird Dogs pants, they breathe really well. They keep me dry. And they protect me from the sort of elements on the side of the trails. And those shorts are great whether I'm doing elliptical, whether I'm doing PT, whether I'm working out with my trainer, or even if I jump in the pool. They do work as a swimsuit, actually. They got multi-purpose going on over there. Go to birddogs.com/tire and enter promo code TIRE for a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/tire and get that free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. You won't want to take off those Bird Dogs once you put them on. You will be addicted to them. And now, back to the show.
Dude, I've got
it did the
an
trick.
old Lamborghini, a Countach, which is not the same as a Cessna, but the windows only go down
Love
like
the Countach.
this
That
much.
was our dream car, right, when we
Fuck
were
yeah,
young?
dude. It's amazing.
That was the wall poster.
But you know, it's got those tiny little windows. But all I want someone to do is 3D print that, where it's like a little fucking elbow, and I could roll it up and stick it, pinch it in the window, just because I do this. I make this. I drive around like this. My right hand on the wheel.
Try to scoop air.
And my left hand is a little scoop. I stick out
Get
the
you
window.
a $10 Civic
and it
intake
just-
from AutoZone. No,
need
the
someone to
Countach,
3D print me
ergonomically
that.
terrible, horrible driver car, but such a cool car, so iconic.
I disagree with both counts. I
Do you really?
I think ergonomically,
See, I
once
haven't
you're
driven
in
one. I
it,
can't
once
speak
you're
to
in
it.
it, it's actually quite comfy.
I've just
It
based
is-
off all the videos and reviews that I've seen. And
Yeah.
yours excluded because you like yours.
Maybe I have blinders on, but I
if you
really
love
like
something
it.
enough, it's perfect no matter
And
what,
mine
right?
does have air conditioning, but I still enjoy the windows down, and with my little hand scoop, it works pretty good. But I
man.
get. Can you?
That
What
was
if you
the dream
like?
car.
Could you cut a sunroof or like vent
Why
holes in
would
the
I, though?
ceiling in that?
Like
to
I
make
could
it?
put ventilation in there. I could actually rig fans or something like that, or even
Yeah.
aftermarket AC unit. Now we just stuck an EcoBoost. I've been working on that for months now. So it's got a 2.3 Mustang EcoBoost in it, and I
God.
did that because I took it to Cletus and Cars Bristol, did the burnout competition with it.
Yeah.
Stole the show. 30,000 people, whatever, were there,
That had
just
enough
lost
power
their
in the
minds.
van to do a burnout.
It was under 100 horsepower. It wasn't running good. I had to put a locker in the rear, and it was one of those cheap, like, clutch type, not
600
clutch type, but the
treadwear
little
tires.
tubes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, they might have been, actually. They were old tires. They were like smokeless tires, too. It was the weirdest thing. I was spinning like crazy, and almost no smoke came off them. But the crowd lost their minds. They loved it. Like it stole the show. Even some of Cletus's folks said, "Dude, you should have won." Well, it's a burnout competition. They judge you by how much
You
smoke
need
you
to
make
make
and how
smoke,
quickly
yeah.
you make it.
Yeah.
I wasn't making smoke. I was just whipping a plane around. So, and I was on purpose getting it really close to the concrete Jersey walls because I was a tight
is that
box.
why you messed
Yeah.
up the tail?
Well, that was Indy because after the feedback from Bristol, everybody's like, "Oh man, we wanted to see a tail tap so bad." I'm like, "I'll give him a little tail tap." So I give him a little tail tap at Indy a few weeks ago, and the crowd lost their mind, And then I'm like, "Let me do it again," and my dumbass gets excited, whap, and then just tore it up. It was so bad.
Oh, that sucks.
You see some of the photos. Now I've been fixing it. It's presentable again. I mean, this thing has always been rough. When I bought it, it had sat 40 years abandoned, had animals living in it. There was no tail, no engines, no fuel tanks. And it was just junk. It had been sitting 40 years at this airfield. And they were scrapping it for the aluminum. And I'm looking all over the country for an airplane to make a race car because that's what I wanted to do. I decided long ago. So for 6 months of searching, I'm searching Nevada boneyards. You're looking at wrecked single-engine Cessna with no front cowling, no door, no instruments. It's $10,000. I'm like, what am I going to do with that? Like, I don't have everything I need anyway. And then I said, let me start going to local airfields and just see if there's something I don't know about. 5 minutes from my house after a 6-month search, I knock on the gate and the guy comes out. What do you want? Looking for an old airplane. Want to make a race car? Oh, great, crackhead. No, I build weird cars, and this is what I'd like to do next. He's like, well, I got 2 out back. So we settled on $2,000. It had the instruments in it. It was a full fuselage. And you're looking at hundreds of hours of polishing.
Yeah,
And this
I
was
bet.
no joke
Whoa.
to make it, shiny. But it was worth it because you can paint it easily, but it doesn't have the same effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mirror finish now. It's
It
awesome.
is. It looks cool.
Oh, it's awesome.
But I've been driving this thing for over 10 years.
It's got a
It's a
crazy
blast.
amount of front overhang. The
It
front
does.
wheels are like under your ass, and there's like 6 feet of front overhang.
And that tail, it's got a lot of swing, so you have to be really careful when you're maneuvering, especially in like a city area. But
Yeah.
I've driven this to the White House, to Times Square in Manhattan, all over Vegas, to the Hollywood sign up there, here in LA, all over San Diego. It's just been everywhere.
How many seats are in it?
Just 2.
Just the 2,
The
okay.
driver, and then there's a seat in the back. It's like an old Corbeau racing seat. My wife sits back there, and my buddies do, whoever's riding with me.
It's crazy.
But you
So
gotta do some
cool.
yoga, especially now. I feel like I've screwed it up a little bit because I had to raise the seat platform up like 4 or 5 inches.
For the EcoBoost?
For the EcoBoost. And
Yeah.
it's all the way down, almost touching the road. It's just a taller motor. Maybe it wasn't the right choice, but it was a good price. It was good power.
Oh, it's a triple the horsepower of the original
more than
motor?
triple. Yeah. And once it's not right yet, but once it's sorted, it's going to
With
be a
a,
monster.
with a manual or an automatic?
Auto. Yeah, it's got
Auto.
the 6-speed auto.
Okay.
The manual will be tough to set up in there because you're sitting in front of the motor, so it's
Right.
just going to be tricky. I mean, it's not doable, but yeah, the
That
motors.
Toyota was sold in some markets with a manual,
Yes.
right? So
Yes,
it
it was.
could have been done. I mean,
If
but-
you had kept some of them were 4-wheel drive too, it'd be cool to
Yeah.
get the manual 4-wheel drive, the
Oh, yeah.
Unicorn, and put a better motor in it. But those Toyota motors were so gutless, and now I mean it wants to freaking move, and then it goes through first, second, gets into third, and it falls on its nose. And it's not finished, like we're using it, but it's not finished. So I have a lot of
Yeah,
sorting
yeah.
to do. It's actually going to be in the Hot Rod Power Tour in 2 weeks. So I'm driving that. That's the plan. I've got to get this stuff figured out pretty quick. And I get out of my depth, honestly, because I don't know how to tune things like how to get a laptop and
this is
set
you
things
at
up.
Cletus and Cars doing
Yeah,
fucking
see
donuts?
the smokeless burnouts? So I am wound out like second gear, and it's spinning like a banshee, but you
there's
see
no smoke
smoke
at all.
No, and I'm like, well,
It
how did I
looks
get
great with the
smokeless
flag
tires?
on the tail, though. You're really.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're. I mean,
whipping.
you're doing legit donuts.
Oh yeah,
But-
I whip it by the wall here so many times for this 2 minutes, and the crowd have just lost their minds. And at the end, they all stomped their feet on the aluminum stands, you know.
I mean, the overhang
cool.
is insane, front and rear.
Well, you have to use the whole burnout box to get the most points. So I'm like, let me cut in here and try to whip it, and it was like not whipping.
Ooh,
So
reverse burnout.
You did a little reverse
that was
burnout
awesome.
there. This is very funny.
So
It's
the
really
stands are so big at Bristol, obviously, you have people that spread way out. So from this angle, they think I'm going to hit that side, and from that angle, I'm going to hit that side. And the reaction, all the fan videos, losing their minds, like, oh, like thousands of people at once. Oh,
That's really
you know?
funny. It looks great though.
Yeah.
The polishing really paid off. It does look really
Talk
good.
about unexpected at a burnout contest,
Right.
too.
I'll be
That's
doing this
hilarious.
again at Bristol. This I guess it's September. It's the next Cletus and Cars, and I'm going to keep it clean this time, like I did like I did here, because the Indiana damage was way too much. They loved it. Don't get me wrong. I had
But did you have to like buy a new tail section, or did you
no.
fix
I
what
had
you
to just take sheet aluminum and form it as best I could. I don't have the right equipment for this. I have to get more stuff in my shop. I'm literally 2 pieces of angle iron and a vise that's not even mounted
Yeah,
right
you
now.
need
'cause
an English wheel and one of those sandbaggy
Oh,
things.
my God.
I really do. I really do. But
How
I'll
many
get
hours do you think you have into that? The plane.
a couple thousand.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The helicopter, the Speedy Copter, that was about 3,000 hours.
So yeah. So what was that? The same kind of vibe? Old
So,
Toyota van with a body on it.
Yes, short answer. But
Looks
I
like
wanted
an
to.
attack helicopter kind of.
It was a Vietnam attack chopper. It was
Yeah.
a 69 OH-58 Kiowa. It had guns and everything in Vietnam. It flew attack missions. It came back and flew drug task force missions. So it was kind of funny to me. It had DTF on the front in big capital letters because drug task force, you know.
Wait,
so
that
DTF. Yes. So it winds up in Nashville. GSA gives it to Nashville Police. They had 4 of the same model, and they stripped it for parts because it was older, and they just put everything in the shed. It would use what they needed.
It was like
and then
mid
it was just a shell.
60s, mid late 60s.
69.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They put it out behind their hangar, and it washed away in a flood. And they told GSA, sorry, it's gone. And GSA said, you can't, it's accountable government property, go find it. So
Yeah.
they dragged it back. So it winds up on a GSA auction full of silt, missing the doors, missing the rotors, missing the transmission cover and everything for the roof. And I had been looking for a chopper to follow the plane up, because in my mind that makes sense, right? You do a helicopter after an airplane. And I was thinking, skids won't hide the chassis underneath. So I'm going to have to find some pontoons, because that's the only other way a chopper will come. And it's got to hide the wheels, you know. So we did cut 24-foot pontoon boat pontoons down to 20 feet, filled it with marine, the expanding foam, cut reliefs in for the wheels, and that was all quick release. That would come off in like freaking 20 seconds. You'd have the whole pontoon
change a
off,
tire.
Wow.
tires and brakes, because it's a race
Yeah.
car. It was a Lemons car. So everybody told me, don't use the Audi 3-liter. It's not the. It's a bad motor. And I'm like, it's 220 horsepower. I can
underneath
get one
this
for
was
a
an
couple
Audi.
$100.
What?
Underneath was an '86 Toyota van that I got from John Pagel, evil genius from Lemons.
Oh, okay.
And he was going to build it with a mid-engine Audi, like an inline. And then I was like, he had widened a Miata rear for it. And he was going to set up very different. Probably should have left what he had in there, because I used the Quattro 3-liter out of like a 03 A6.
Oh God.
And I rear mounted it so the front axles were driving the rear wheels, and the drive shaft for the rear wheels was driving the 4-blade parasol prop, because I was going to use one motor for all of it, because I'm an idiot. So it was way over engineered. We had to make a water box for it. It was just nightmare. We get out on the Lemons track with it, and that build fought us every step of the way for 6 months. We're talking about like 3,000 hours worth of work at 6 months. My teammates day and night just thrashing on this thing, trying to get it done for this race. We show up Saturday still unfinished. We thrash. We pass tech Sunday morning. At least we can race all day Sunday, right?
Yeah.
And I go out there like, I'm ready now. We're gonna kick ass. We had a whole Predator Schwarzenegger theme, and I have like a old 720p whatever 70-inch flat screen in my garage, just an old cheap TV. We played Predator on a loop as we were building this, and every time Arnold says, "Get to the chopper," we all run and hang off of it. Like that was the shtick for this build, right?
great.
So we get there. We have our Predator like full camo suit. We're all wearing the costumes and stuff like that. And I go out there on the track, and it blew on the second lap. It blew the
it
motor.
sucks.
I think it dropped the valves. And it was done. We're talking about a 3-day motor swap. There was no fixing this on Sunday afternoon at the track, you know. So, and then we took it on the Lemons rally, and the trans went out. We're trying to go from Moscow, Pennsylvania, to Barber Motorsports Park, Alabama, and we're all the way into Alabama at this point. We had
So
to put on
that's
the
street
trailer.
legal as well.
Oh yeah, this was driven all over. Wow. Yeah. We pull into a Ford dealer with this on the trailer because the trans got to where it wouldn't go. It was slipping so bad. So I put it on the trailer, brought up to Huntsville Ford, and said, "Hey guys, got a Vietnam attack helicopter. It's got a Toyota van chassis, wide Miata rear. It's an Audi drivetrain, you know." And can you please do a transmission flush? And they're like, we're a Ford dealer. And I'm like, I know, but like we can't finish the rally without this.
What lift?
So their lead tech goes, I got this. Don't worry about it. And he throws it up in the air, and they're all gawking and stuff. I mean, this is so unusual. You know, you don't see this on a rack at a dealership.
Throws it in the air like you could fit that on a lift.
You could fit it on the lift.
I guess there was lifted trucks. Yep, something.
So he did the
Crazy.
trans flush. We did the last 200
people
miles. We crossed it, got it to Barber, put it back on the trailer, hauled it home. So the motor had gone out, then the trans had gone out. We did more work on it.
But it came back with new fluid? The trans came back with new fluid?
It came back enough to finish.
Oh,
I could
wow.
go 60, but if I goosed it, it would slip. So I just babied it, like rolling on the throttle easy, and finished the rally with it. And then we got it all sorted. We changed the transmissions. Now we got a different motor, different trans, and it's running great. I mean, it's never run better.
What's in it now?
It was the same Audi engine we swapped out, replaced the same style.
Okay.
It was easier just to bolt the same thing in. And then the same style transmission, we just swapped it out.
I mean, those engines, what was the thing that was bad about them? I mean,
so if you talk
nothing,
like on the Audi
horrible
forums,
about an A6, right?
No, those 3 liters, they were all aluminum, 220 horsepower V6. I'm like, it's light, it's strong, and it's dirt cheap. Why not? I guess they have a reputation for not being reliable, and I found out.
No, you don't say.
Yeah, so I've had bad luck with Audi altogether. But so I'm driving
Says
this.
the world.
I say I'm driving it. My buddies and I, we're headed to Philly with it now. Now it's again still street legal. We've changed the motor, changed transmission, and we have it running perfect. I mean, it's singing. We get fuel in it at Wawa. We fill up the plane, so they're both being driven. And then I've got the Trippy van on the trailer, and we're going to a big Philly media blitz. So we're headed to Philadelphia. It's a 4-hour ride from us, from Southern Maryland. We're 2 hours in. Little tiny harness short. So the Audi harness is mounted in the tail, like way up high. It shorted, and it was all fused. I don't know how it shorted and caught fire, but something caught fire, and it was a little, like candle flame, but the engine stalled. My buddy Nick is driving. He pulls over. Josh is following him in the plane. Or I guess Josh was in front of him, but they both pull over. Anyway, and I've got the Trippy van. They're following me, so I didn't see him. I'm checking the mirror every 30 seconds, and all of a sudden they weren't there. So I turn around the next exit and come back, fully engulfed. And my first thought is, oh my God, Nick. And when Nick was out, he was fine. That tiny fire fully engulfed that thing in moments because I didn't realize this. I'm in my garage all winter welding on this thing and plasma cutting and everything. Magnesium.
Oh, shit.
It's a light, strong metal. The military used magnesium in these things.
The whole body is
Holy
magnesium?
shit.
No, but a lot of components were, like structural components. So that little fire ignited magnesium. We had a 10-pound Kitty APC fire extinguisher brand new in the front. I mean, this is the big sucker, which the race cars usually have a small one. Nick pulled the pin, squeezed the handle, nothing happened.
Oh, shit.
Nationwide recall on those was 2 weeks later. This was just, this thing was cursed, I think. I don't know. People said keep it and bring it back because there was nothing left. At the end of this fire,
It was just a
there was
melted
melty
puddle
pontoons and a roll cage. That's all you had.
I mean, you're lucky your house didn't burn down.
Yeah.
So I got to give a shout out to ATL Fuel Cells out of Jersey because their fuel cell that we had topped off 2 hours before was still full of fuel, 93
wow.
octane.
Yeah.
At the end of this fire, and this was intense. The fire department couldn't put it out. You can't put magnesium with water.
fire, yeah.
So
The fuel cell
super
survived,
intense.
all right.
Yeah,
That's
I
impressive.
really, really impressive. Their cell did its job. 'Cause my first thought was this is a fuel fire. But the Vietnam vets came out of the woodwork afterwards and said, oh, when those things lit, they're a Roman candle, you run away. And I'm like, where were you guys before? Like, I'm in my garage in the wintertime with all the doors shut, plasma cutting and welding. Yeah, I know. It was tragic,
it's sad that
really
one didn't
tragic.
make it.
3,000 hours worth of work. In 5 minutes, it poofed and it was just gone. So it was a heartbreak. People say build another one. And people send me a link. There's one for sale right now, the same model. It's 2000.
No,
for the
I think
fuselage.
maybe a different helicopter without the magnesium.
I don't know. I feel like I scratched that itch already, and it just ended so badly. But it was cool that it was amphibious. It really, because it was legit. Like you see how it's set up there.
Like,
So
did you
what I
ever
did-
drive it into the water?
We did. Yeah.
Really?
There's video of it on the lake. Yeah.
And what? Could you propel it in the water?
Yes, that was the whole point of that. We had a 4-blade paracel prop on that drive shaft
that's
for the
what
rear.
that's what you were
We had
saying.
a water box. It was just a nightmare. Never should have done this. An outboard would have sufficed, and it would have saved me months.
Dude.
You could have put one of those little fishing motors on it.
It still would have been
You even
better.
got a place to mount it. Like that.
Yes,
That rear
yes.
trellis would have just held a plate and a fucking outboard.
Right.
2
Our goal,
seconds.
my dream for this was, I don't know if you spent much time in D.C. There's certain bars that are on the water that are really nice and stuff like that. So I want to pull up in my street legal
Yes.
Vietnam attack helicopter race car on the water to these bars and just melt everybody's faces,
Yeah.
right? Because that was the dream. That
One
was,
vehicle for
and
every
I never
possible
got to do
thing.
it. Like there was going to be like a platform back there for swimming and all that, jumping off of this thing.
Well, you should still do something amphibious.
Yes.
You shouldn't let
Yes.
that dream die.
No, and matter of fact, I have a pair of pontoons. Well, they're not pontoons; they're floats for an ultralight that I'm going to do something with. That have some bad ideas.
Yeah,
for.
I mean, there's.
I don't want to give everything away. But.
No, but like there's a lot of things you could do that would be bizarre amphibious shit
Yeah.
that you know.
And I'm a half mile from the water in Tennessee, and it's spectacular.
Oh, look,
Tennessee
there it is
River.
on the water. How about that?
This is wild.
I had taken the rotors off the roof because we didn't know they were big and heavy and up high. You know, we didn't know if it was going to be tippy. It was super
Yeah.
stable.
It was good?
But, oh, yeah, it was fine.
But
we never got to fulfill that dream of going up to the bars, you know?
under its power?
Not much.
Yeah.
It was running. So this is after it dropped the valves. It would start and it would run, and it would probably do about 2,000 RPMs, but it sounded like it was running on 2 of the 6 cylinders.
Yeah.
And it didn't last long. So I don't know how much speed it could have got if I could have shifted through the gears and wound it out. But, you know.
The shot of the gas station with the fucking helicopter and the plane next to each other is pretty amazing.
This was 3 o'clock in the morning. It was 5 a.m. when it caught fire. This was
so-
2 hours after this photograph.
So this
that
is
thing
the
was no more.
last known photo
Right.
of it.
How
that's right.
often did you get pulled over in either vehicle?
I've been pulled over quite a few times in the plane, and I've even had cops get out of their police car, like Ocean City, Maryland. One guy gets out. I'm sorry. I hope you don't mind. I just want to see it. I'm a pilot, you know. And I'm like, dude, I'm a cop too. Come on, enjoy. You know?
Yeah. That's
Then I've
so
had them
sad
like, your
about the
tag
fire.
light is out, and then they stand there and they gawk for 20 minutes. I'm like, guys, you want to check it out? It's fine.
Your
Like,
tag
you know.
light is out. It's an airplane.
But no one pulls you over. Like, what the fuck? I mean,
No, they're
They
usually
just
just so
assume
busy
you've-
gawking. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I think that's
Now, this
that
never got
proves
pulled
that
over,
if
that
it's
whole rally.
weird enough, they won't even question it.
Right.
You know, there's a certain level of weird where it's like you shouldn't have this. But if it's so far into weird, then they go, well, he must have gotten the paperwork right on this. This is too weird to not have sorted it out.
Or maybe the word just gets around. I don't know.
Yeah.
There was a guy with the shopping cart car. You've probably seen it.
I remember
The big
that
shopping
one.
Cart.
Yeah, that one was
cool.
pretty
And
cool.
they read him the riot act, made him put it on the trailer, and I'm still driving around. I was like, what the hell, dude? Like, this is BS. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
I got a badge, bro. I can do whatever I want.
See, I don't like that mentality because I'm not above the law. You know, none of us are. So.
Sure.
But
That is a good. Thank you for having
maybe,
that mentality.
Yes, but maybe they cut me a little slack. I don't know.
I mean, I think they probably at least assume you have your paperwork in order.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I do.
Maybe you
Yeah.
get that credit for it.
But yeah, this stuff, I love, like I said, doing stuff that's so over the top and ridiculous that people can't believe what they're seeing. And
Sure.
some of the reactions, like I'll tell you about one time in Atlantic City. Now, you guys have probably been to AC.
no.
If you get, so if you get a
Unfortunately, I
block
have.
away from AC, it is the dregs of society. It's all pawn shops and liquor stores. And I mean people that are really strung out and, you know, having a
Yeah.
hard time.
AC's rough.
It is rough.
It's a rough place.
I have family that goes to OC, New Jersey every year, which is 30 minutes up the beach. So we're like, my brother and I like, let's go to Atlantic City for a little while, play some cards. So it's 11:30 at night. I'm driving the plane. He's riding in the back. Of all the times not to have a GoPro going, okay, because you get a block away from the casinos and the light's red and I stop and this guy comes out and you can see he's older, he's fried and he's
Yeah.
just, and he's losing his mind. He's like, did you just come from outer space? And straight faced, I'm like, yep. He's like, oh my God, that's awesome. And he's having a meltdown on the street and we're dying. And he's looking at the plane and he's like, what year? And automatic response.
What year?
I'm thinking like, what year is the fuselage? Because I always say 1956. It's a 56 Cessna 310. So I said 1956. He's like, you traveled through space and time. That's awesome. And he's losing his shit in the street. We were crying laughing. I mean, that's 20 million hits right away if I had had a GoPro going.
Oh my God,
I'm so
that's
bad about it.
hilarious.
I'm
You
gonna
made
record
that
so
guy's
much of
life.
this.
He's like, I told you. I've been telling people for
Right,
decades.
right. Yes.
Finally, they visit me again.
To see his face, and
Yeah.
I get people like, I love your spaceship and things like that. People freak out about it. But,
That's
Like that's that movie scene where the
That's
guy
like the
looks up
scene
from
from Back to
bottle,
the
you know.
Future.
Yeah.
That's like the Plan 9
Yeah, really.
from outer space
Really.
scene from Back to the Future. That's amazing.
yeah. So I do
So
love watching faces.
what
melt.
else
I do.
was anything else run up until run through the planning phase only to be scrapped for being unfeasible and or too weird?
Nothing would ever get scrapped for being unfeasible two wheels because I feel like where there's a will, there's a way. So we figure out each engineering challenge as we get to it. Like it's not like these are all mapped out perfectly in my head because they're not. Because I mean,
With the van, the Volkswagen van on its side, the hippy trippy van, is the driver like literally on the side with the glass and you're just looking at full glass front?
keep scrolling through. So everything is because you're driving a VW Rabbit, so it's a normal driving experience except for your vision. You have a vertical windshield, and then you have one-way Lexan panels. And if you see that big, they maybe cut the cowl out and pry it open. So I get to the Corvette Museum track in Kentucky for the Lemons race with this thing, and we unveiled it as we left our house because it was under wraps with construction. But then you're going to pull it on an open trailer across the country. Everybody's going to see it and know something's up. So we did an unveil video where it starts off with the back of a bus, and you hear the engine revving, you hear burnout, you see it take off, and then the camera goes sideways because it's actually sideways, but you started off with the camera sideways. So people are like, what the heck? Another good visual gag that's been copied. So like I said, that's the mark of success for me is how many people, like it enough to copy it.
Oh yeah, so
There's been
so
a lot
the
of upside down
driver's
vehicles.
fully inside of a car.
Right, you're in the Rabbit.
Yeah.
But
It's still got to be kind of hard to see.
That's really cool.
You can't see the backup. I put a camera in. I put 2 side view cameras on because I didn't want mirrors, so I had little tiny cameras.
Right hand turns look like they'd be difficult too.
It's
Can't
all
see the
one-way
apex,
vinyl.
right?
You can see fine. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's a little blind spot where the bumper is, but I mean, you move your head even a little bit.
This whole front
and
is
it's
one-way
fine.
vinyl.
Oh yeah, it's like
That's
they would
cool.
put on
Yeah.
a bus.
And I put a
Yeah.
second grill. If you look at the pictures of the nose of this thing, there's a second grill because you can see through that. So there's a green. It's one-way vinyl like a bus. Right?
Oh okay.
So you see that panel?
Oh yeah.
So
Oh, that's
visibility
fucking-
from the
yeah,
inside is
yeah.
actually good.
Oh.
Yeah, just going forward.
Yeah,
Forget about
yeah,
backwards.
yeah.
There's no seeing what's behind you. That's where that
That's
camera
super
comes in.
interesting. That actually works really
That
well,
is so
doesn't
well
it?
done.
And then I try to be creative with the names too. So the Trippy Tippy Hippie Van, nobody ever gets that right. So, and
I don't
they
think I
usually
just
throw
did.
in like a dippy or two. But, yeah.
No, there's
that,
no
you
extra
know,
dippies or hippies in
And
this.
it's I'm like the polar opposite of the hippie. You know, I don't the long hair thing. The wig was so itchy, and I had the tie dye shirts and stuff, and that's so not me.
Yeah.
But there was like the perfect opposite kind of thing. You know.
Yeah.
It was cool.
This marijuana smells funny.
Yeah. Right. This oregano is all wrong.
How come you haven't
So-
done a boat though? I feel like you're
have
primed
one
for a boat. You
for
do?
that reason. I
Oh,
have a
you-
jet boat at my house. I want to do it different. I want to give it all away, but I want to do it different than others have done there so far.
with a fucking turbine motor in it.
Well,
Make it actual jet.
I
That
wish
would
I
be-
had the knowledge to make a turbine work. I really do.
I've seen uglier cars than yours with turbines in them. Someone
Yep.
can figure it out. Oh, I love the Pacer.
Yeah,
the
the
Pacer
fishbowl.
with two backs of a Pacer. That's
And you know,
beautiful.
that car has never gotten its due, I don't believe. Like, usually when I do something outlandish, there's all kinds of websites and magazines that write about it. And this car was just not even really a blip on the radar. Like, even Jalopnik was like, oh, we're going to write about that, and then it never happened.
Well, by your standards, it's not that weird.
No, it isn't, but it's got a good look to it.
The
I believe.
problem
It
is
looks cool.
doing like
Yeah.
really like extreme weird thing. Once you get to helicopter and airplane, anything that's based on a car is not going
Or
to
two
move
cars,
the
just
needle anymore.
mundane, right.
I just think it looks, it's got like a Rat Fink meets Buckminster Fuller kind of vibe.
I think it's really cool. Now, we took it, we've shown it a few times. It's been on different TV shows and stuff. But we took it to the Charlotte Auto Fair a few weeks ago, and there was people that kept coming back over and over over the course of the weekend because we're there for 4 days.
What's
And
underneath it? A ZX 300
It's
ZX?
actually a 91 MR2. It was a
it's an
turbo
MR2.
car, and now it's got a red top beams in it. So it's 200 horsepower NA, but that car scoots around a road course. There was some bruised
it's actually
egos
quite
at Jersey.
pretty.
Yeah.
How do you get in it?
You open that big side hatch, that whole panel opens up, and they're on struts. I've learned, it used to be where somebody had to hold everything up for you. Now I go on Amazon and buy the $12 struts, and they work for everything. All the hatches and windows on this thing are on those struts. But yeah, egress is pretty easy, and it's a good handle. It's a quick car. It really surprised you on a road course. It's got the old Mustang wheels because I use whatever I can find cheap on, Craigslist or Marketplace.
Yeah, like torque thrusty kind of wheels.
Yeah, the bullet wheels. And,
I would love to drive that as a street car. I think that would be a fun little street car.
really cool.
Well, this is
Especially
this
if you
is my
tinted the
backup
windows
plan.
so you couldn't really see that there was another car inside it. That would make a cool street car.
Definitely. It's going to get tagged here real soon, and it'll be street legal easy. All I have to do is take those front taillights and make them into headlights and hook up the
I can't wait for the
turn signal wiring.
911 calls. They're like, someone's going backwards down the freeway.
Yeah.
Well, everybody wants me to do 2 front ends. That's like a push me pull you, but that's been done to death. That's been done all different ways, different
I've
vehicles.
seen that. Yeah,
this has
yeah.
not, and so it was a little bit different. And then they called the cars fishbowls in the 70s, the Pacer, because the ass end looked like a fishbowl. That's half a fishbowl. I wanted a whole fishbowl, so that's the
Yeah.
reason I built this.
Does it get really hot in there?
It does. Airflow. So during the race, I wound up pulling the hatches because it got so stifling in there that you heat stroke out. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So you can use a cool suit, and that helps. But that's
Yeah,
only
but if
do
you
so
can't
much.
breathe,
you can't
that only
breathe,
does
right.
so much. Yeah.
So I have to get the plane sorted, like I said, in the next 2 weeks, and I'm here for weeks. I only have a week when I get home. It's running great. It's just I don't know what the issue is. So I buy a cheap wiring kit for this EcoBoost swap out of Portugal, and it's got leads for like the gauges. So I'm like, I have the Mustang cluster, I'm good. Oh no, it's all CAN bus. I don't have anything I need to make it work. I have zero instrumentation. I don't know what my temp is, my fuel level, my boost, nothing, right? So I've got to get all that sorted because I want to drive that plane the entire Hot Rod Power Tour. It starts in Atlanta and goes South Carolina, North Carolina, and Bristol. So that's all fairly local for me in Eastern Tennessee because I'm right by the tail of the dragon.
Have you driven the plane on Tail of the Dragon yet?
Yes.
That's
the pictures are tremendous.
The pictures have to be
they
incredible.
really are.
It's a tight road.
Did what's his name?
And I wasn't
Killboy or
going soft.
whatever get a
Killboy got some
good
shots.
shotty?
Yeah. I know they're on my Facebook. I'm assuming it's still up on their website, but yeah, Killboy got some great shots of it.
So have you done anything that was like deeply unconventional powertrains? I mean, you've done lots of engine swaps, but have you ever like
Here's the thing about what I do with these cars. The more I get into the unconventional stuff, the less it works out for me. So the more I can take something that runs good and drop something ridiculous over it, the better off I am. And it's worked so far. We've done a lot of these hack cars, and it's worked really well each time. This was the exception. And then
Meaning
I
the
guess
helicopter
the
for the
helicopter,
radio
yes.
people.
And then the plane with this EcoBoost swap, it's been a bear. It really has. So that EcoBoost, like I said, it's taller, so I had to raise the seat up. It barely fits between those Toyota frame rails because they're super tight. That's a unibody.
Yeah.
It's got those frame channels. And then like I needed a 24-inch drive shaft for it, but I had to go from the Mustang to the Toyota, and I didn't have the pieces to make it work. And you want to balance something like that. This is a street car. It's going to get driven. I want to do another cross-country trip in it. So I had a local drive shaft, and it's $900-something for a 24-inch drive. Like, are you kidding me right now? But we had to hurry up and get it done.
Custom-made drive shafts.
Yeah. I'm going to
That's
start doing
just
all that stuff on
crazy.
my own in the future. I've got a lot of learning to do. I bought some machining equipment that I have to learn how to use. I bought a Bridgeport and a lathe and a big old commercial drill press. And once I get them wired up and start figuring them out,
You've gotten pretty far without those tools.
Right,
I'm surprised you don't own those already. And you're building this crazy
They're
stuff.
not- we don't have
to your
power to
first
them yet.
spacecraft that you
Yeah.
actually build. In
I
like
want to
10
do
years.
that.
It's,
I want to do. I was talking about that a couple days ago. I want to do a proper UFO where people just like, what the hell am I seeing?
That would be a good, a
Drive
good
back
one.
to that Atlantic City block and look for that
Yeah, I
dude.
know, the same guy.
Yeah. I think
So-
UFO is the next one, rocket of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the boat could work. Have you seen the guys who have done turned jet skis into like motorcycles?
I've
They
ridden
ride-
one, yeah.
You rode it?
Yeah.
Was it
I've ridden
awesome?
one. It was awesome. Yeah.
That seems awesome.
At a
to
lemons
me.
race, yeah.
Oh yeah. Have you seen those? I don't know if do they start with like Vespas? Are they scooters? Or are they proper motorcycles?
It depends on who's doing it. Most of them are scooters.
They're putting old Wave Runner bodies on scooters.
So I'm going the other
So
direction.
it looks like you're riding a fucking Wave Runner down the road. It's badass.
That's really cool.
So I'm building what I'm calling Baby Spirit. So I've got Spirit of Lemons as the airplane car.
Mm-hmm.
Baby Spirit is a motorcycle airplane. And I've got a BD-5 jet fuselage. And that's the old aluminum body, like you saw it in James Bond, where he flew on a tiny microjet.
Right, yeah.
They were deadly. They killed a lot of people. They would do 200-300 miles an hour and then burrow into the ground. So I have this fuselage. My friends call me up. It's like, there's a plane at the junkyard. You should go get it. I'm like, really? I haul ass up there. What's this tiny thing? It's aluminum. It's a fuselage. It's a plane. It's got 30, 35 feet of wing or whatever. But
Seems like it'd
it
be
was
good
just
for like
a
a
shell
land
for an
speed
ultralight.
car. Well,
It's
it's
good
like
for
a
a
belly,
motorcycle.
it's like a belly tanker
Yeah,
kind of
so
thing,
I'm doing
right?
it's a 250cc Yamaha Morphous I'm using. So it's liquid cooled, fuel injected. It'll cruise at 70 all day long, getting 60 miles a gallon, and it's going to look ridiculous. It doesn't have to be a corner carver because you can't with the wings. That's the reason why there's no other
Same with
airplane
the jet
motorcycles.
skis, right? You really can't lean those
you scrape
down
if you
either.
lean much, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to run that thing up down to Hill of Dragon and have a blast with it. I won't be setting any speed records, but it's going to look really freaking
That's
cool.
cool.
So I'll probably have to do the wings like a fighter jet, swept
Yeah,
back.
like an
Yeah.
F-14.
Yeah, and they're still going to drag. That's part of the coolness. You put some
like a
spark
bagger.
rails on
You
there.
can't
Yeah,
lane
exactly.
split though. That's kind of a
No,
bummer.
not so
Although
much.
it's not legal in Tennessee. Yeah, here that's a California thing only. It's very civilized like that.
Yeah, no, I've driven out here a bunch.
Lane splitting is where it's at, dude. It's how you fucking get through
If
traffic.
you have to commute, I mean, LA
you
sucks
gotta
for a commute,
commute,
so it's
yeah.
worse than DC, I think.
That's why.
and
You
that's
see my
saying something.
You see my Vespa outside? That's how I commute.
That's cool.
It's fucking great, dude.
Yeah.
No traffic for me. I don't have time for that.
My motto is, if you don't like my driving, stay off the sidewalks. So,
Did we
right
have
there with
anything
you.
off the Patreon?
There's just one.
Okay. What do we got for ask our question?
Well, we covered it. They said, how do cops react?
Oh,
that
well,
was
there we
it.
go.
Yeah.
Covered.
I'd pull me
Covered.
over. I mean, I would,
You have
So,
to.
right.
At least for the picture and maybe like, is this at all
That's
okay?
a pretty good T-shirt actually. I'd pull me over.
I should talk to Blip Shit to get my own line. Yeah,
You should.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Speedy
good.
Cop
yeah
shirt.
it's old friends of mine.
That's awesome, man. Well,
That's wild shit.
I love your builds. They're really funny. They're really well done.
Thanks.
And it's amazing to see. Not only and they race.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing to build some weird funky show car that only has to go on and off a trailer, but I mean, how many street miles do you have on the plane?
Thousands.
Yeah, I mean,
it has
that's
been
incredible.
all over the U.S. Yeah,
That's just
and I have to
crazy.
I was trying to do a solo coast to coast ground level flight. So I left San Diego.
Amelia
Comic-Con.
Earhart style, okay.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it ends better. I got to Nebraska in the middle of the night. The transmission went out. We were halfway across the country, and we would have tried to find it. It's an obscure
I
transmission.
just converted to
It's
direct
old.
drive.
Well, we could have. I had to be in Indiana the next day. It was still like another 8 hours away for a school bus figure eight, which is one of those bucket list things I always
Yeah.
want to do. My buddy
Yeah.
said, I've got a big school bus. We're in the fair. It's all set up for me. You tell me what colors you want it. I'll paint it for you and everything. I said, I'm there. So I wasn't going to let him down. I couldn't wait to do this school bus figure eight. And I've never driven a school bus before. I didn't know how to turn the air brake off. You know what I mean? Like, okay, how does this work? And I get out there and I win my heat race in this figure eight school bus. And big fair, Indiana. It's big grandstands, and you have the 2 tractor tires, and everybody goes around. There's 13 buses, all full-size diesel buses.
So cool.
Is that every bit as sketchy as it looks?
And worse. Oh, yes. It is full-on crisscross crash. I win my heat race. I get out there for the feature, and out of 13 buses, I took the lead. I'm leading the feature. I'm like, hell yeah, this is awesome. My teammates are losing their minds. And then the crisscross part of the crash came after, and it ripped the turbo off the motor. Well, it ripped the housing off the turbo, so it made no boost. And it sat there running, but it wouldn't move. And I'm like, no. I'm like trying everything. I'm just sitting there.
So
and they're all
someone
going
just
around.
flipped the back of you guys? And
So somebody behind me pushed me into a car going across, because you try to brake, but you have a dozen buses. But this is the tail, because now I'm wrapped all the way around. This is the tail I'm coming back into. So there's some good video. I'll have to put it up on my YouTube channel of this school bus figure 8 race.
Seems really fun until
It's
you start,
sketchy, and it was fun. I got
Yeah.
some GoPro from inside of there too.
I didn't think of the fact someone could push you from the back and just put you.
Yeah.
You had
put
there's
you to
no
death.
control. They're all trying to go, and they're not going
Yeah.
to stop. The guys behind them are pushing them too. So
Yeah.
I just kept on going through this bus. I'm like, no, I'm on the
Because
brakes.
at first
Didn't
you go,
matter.
well, I'll just stop and not, but you don't think about the fact that they will literally push you
Push you
into a
into
traffic.
13 buses in a fairly small arena is a lot. It was madness.
Yeah,
and that's something I
crazy.
always wanted to do. So, I have to do the whole coast to coast thing is my point though. Because I want to do a solo ground level coast to coast flight. I'll probably go, New York to here, here to New York. And it's fun. Like, how is it not fun? Last time I had the chase vehicle because we trailed out to San Diego Comic-Con. So then my friends drove back following me in the plane. And my truck is almost new. Well, now it's a 15, but this was a 19, so fairly new.
Yeah.
Power Stroke, great truck. And we get in the mountains in Colorado, and the plane's running like a champ, and the truck acted up. We had to find a Ford dealer right at closing time. It had something to do with the DEF clogged up on its own. It was some perfect storm. The dealer said of the factory settings, it hadn't been updated or whatever, and there was a new update flash for it or something. They put on that manual regen, and we had to beg them because now we're like in the mountains in Colorado. We're at 11,000 feet.
Yeah.
That's where that overpass is.
Yeah, you
on
need it.
87, I think
Loveland
it is.
Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say you
whatever the interstate is
towed
there.
it with the plane.
No,
Flat
no.
tow the fucking Super
And the
Duty.
plane, so we're at the Grand Canyon, the plane, it would crank for like 2 minutes before it would start. We were having all kinds of issues with it. We had issues with it the whole trip. But we left it running at the dealership for hours because I was afraid if I killed it, it wouldn't restart. So the problem we had was the truck and not the plane, and we didn't expect that.
This might be illegal, but it'd be very funny if you got comms to control towers, and as you're driving, you do like that ground speed check, and they'd be like, "Well, you're doing 72, but your altitude's one. Like this? Are you okay?"
Requesting a flyby. Yeah.
Amazing.
It is a hoot, though. I mean, that thing, it really is a parade on wheels, and everywhere you go, the reactions are the same. Like, if I want to change lanes on the interstate, I better start a mile early because there's going to be people on both sides of me taking pictures and oblivious.
Yeah.
I put the blinker on, I use hand signals, I'm frantically waving, and they're just, oh, I know, it's cool, and taking pictures and video.
That's really funny. When
everywhere.
something is
So cool.
so attention grabbing that it's like actually difficult to drive. The one thing about that Lamborghini that I have, it's such an amazing thing, but I have to be aware of the fact that anywhere I go with it,
They're distracted looking at you.
They're distracted and filming or something, and it's like that's how I'm going to get into a crash with this thing. Is someone's going to literally drive into me. It's got to be so much worse with a fucking plane.
It is.
On the road.
It is. And I try to drive it very conservatively on the street because of that.
You need like quadrophenia mirrors. You need like 75 mirrors on this thing.
Well, it basically is a gigantic mirror, but the problem is they're looking at it.
Yeah. Are you still are you offering Arrive and Drive on your website? Can people come race with you?
I may get back into that. So I haven't been racing lemons for the last few years because of this neck injury. So I had a line of duty injury, have a new disc in my neck. I just got it end of January, so I'm still doing physical therapy, and it's getting a lot stronger. So I'm encouraged because the surgery was successful. The neck's getting stronger, but for a while there, it was debilitating neck pain. It was pretty rough. Part of police work is getting hurt. I mean, if you're doing the job, if you're fighting crime in a big city, things happen. The horse threw me years ago and broke my kneecap, and now the doctor's saying he thinks it's still broken. That's why I have constant pain and can't run.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, that's not good. They're probably going to pin it now, which should have been done years ago. But the disc in the neck really helped. So some idiot 2 blocks from the White House, I shouldn't say that, but some individual 2 blocks from the White House, 10 o'clock on a weekday morning, beautiful sunny day, decided he would drive in the oncoming lanes of southbound and northbound lanes of 14th Street, which is not a divided roadway. It's just like 3 lanes each way. I'm in the middle lane, stopped at the light, been stopped for like 30 seconds in my unmarked government vehicle, and all of a sudden my car goes flying, my neck pops back, and I'm like, what the heck just happened? I get out in uniform, he's like, oh crap,
That sucks.
It did, and that's, like I said, that's police work. I wish I could say they fixed me right up and got me right back to it, but that's not how Department of Labor works.
Yeah.
My job had nothing to do with that. Department of Labor says you don't need surgery, no matter how bad you need. You could be missing the arm. Well, you have the other arm, you're fine. That's how bad it is.
That's insurance in a lot of ways here, fortunately.
It's no different than those. Yeah. So anyway, it took a battle.
Well, I hope you
that
get to get back
surgery.
out there, man. It is a
Well,
shame.
I'm ready now.
Yeah.
I did that Danger Ranger race with Cletus McFarland. He does a great job with these
That was
shows.
dangerous.
He seems like he's having a good
Yeah.
time.
Have you guys
and
had
that
him on
seems
yet?
significantly more dangerous than Lemons Racing.
I think
That
he
was
said they're gonna
9
cancel it.
rollovers.
Yeah.
Well, they may cancel it. They're kind of backpedaling
Oh.
now a little bit. So maybe it'll happen at Bristol again. I don't know.
'Cause that photo
9
with the
Ranger
truck in the
rollovers
air.
in the race out of 32, and one in the practice. How do you roll a truck in practice? Like,
I mean, I saw some
It
of the
was
video.
sketchy.
It seems insane.
some of it, well, most of it was driver error, but not all of it. I mean, Kevin Smith could drive the wheels off anything, and he got taken out, and he hit an oil slick, I think, and flipped his truck.
The one in the air, that photo of
Yeah,
No,
was-
not that. The guy in the air. It was so violent. So the one guy stayed in the gas, went down the infield. We're told not to go down the infield. There's all these big humps, so you won't drive in the dirt in the infield, because the dirt's still on the Bristol track from the NASCAR race. So we're racing on dirt at Bristol Motor Speedway, and this guy goes down those infield humps and he gets airborne. And instead of letting out of it and getting control of the truck, he stayed in it, got crossed up, and came back on, fishtailed, cut across, and you see the video where he takes everybody out. Like 5 trucks totaled in one fell swoop. This guy that wouldn't lift, and I mean he got driven over. That truck got launched, and then
Yeah.
it cartwheeled.
That video is insane.
It is absolutely
Yeah.
insane. But Cletus puts on good events, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to doing more with them, because like these Danger Rangers, I'll take my truck down to Florida and race it at his place, Freedom Factory.
He's got a good thing going down there. I know him. He's a solid dude. I've invited him when he's in town. He doesn't come to this side of the country very often
Yeah.
because he's
He needs
busy.
to, though.
Huh? But he does need to.
Yeah.
And he's in fairness, he's invited us to do a couple of the Crown Vic races.
You gotta do it.
Yeah, no,
gotta do it.
I do want to do it, and the only reason I haven't done it is because it's conflicted with other gigs for whatever. But because he invites me like. And they're always like on big weekends or something, and there's always just other shit going on. But I want to, because it seems like a good time.
I want to in the worst way. I'm hoping to get one of those invites one of these days.
Yeah.
I don't have enough of a social media following. I've dropped the ball in a huge way so many times. Like you go back to 2013, we unveiled a plane and then the Camaro, and like our stuff was all over everywhere.
Yeah.
And I had producers blowing my phone up. I mean, you name them. Adam Carolla even, like, when you get you a show, let's give you a show.
Yeah.
So I signed with a major network and did a development contract, and then nothing
I know
happened.
where this is going. Yeah.
Yeah, and they shelved us.
Yeah.
And then a year later, they wanted to renew. And I'm like, renew what? Like, we're not filming, nothing's happening. I had a million producers in the meantime call me and say, let's give you a show. And we were iced.
Yeah,
So-
they want to lock you in, and then this happens.
Well, they can use you if they want to. It's win-win for them. I was dumb. I don't know any better. I'm like, let me sign this contract. I'll have my own show on this hit channel. It's going to be a big hit,
They
And
use you if they want to, and if they don't want to, you can't
you're
go
not
anywhere
competing.
else.
Right.
Yeah, you're not competing.
Yep.
So now I've got to get, like, I've dropped the ball. Like I said, my YouTube channel has been defunct for quite a while. I mean, it's still there. I have, like, I don't know, 1,300 something subscribers. But I've got to get better at editing video, because I don't have anybody doing that for me right now. So I have to learn how to do it where it's, watchable. And I'm working on it. I'm learning. But I'm telling you, I'm the caveman with the club. This is not my area of expertise, the tech stuff.
You can do it pretty simple though. Like you can
Yeah.
do simple edits. It doesn't have to be complicated if the content's cool.
Yeah.
I think I'm using like Shotcut on my phone or something now, but it's working. It's
Don't
just
use
like,
a phone. Use a computer. But
Well, we
you
were
can
talking.
do it.
Bucky Lasik said he edits all his videos for his
On the
YouTube channel on
iMovie, right?
iMovie on an iPad or something like
And
that.
I hear that that's good, but I don't have any iProducts yet. So
Well,
okay.
I haven't
yeah,
joined that cult.
It is. For video editing, it's better.
That's what everybody
It's
says.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I have to look at that. I mean, this is what I'm going to do the
not
rest of my
like an
life.
evangelist, but when you're editing video, like their shit is just better.
Yeah. My plan is to do the crazy car stuff for as long as I'm physically
get
able.
get a fucking intern.
Cool.
Get
So,
some. Get someone
I've got to.
get
If
someone
you're
to do it
listening
for
and you're
you.
out there and you
If
have
you're in
video edit
Nashville-
skills and you want to be
Are
part
in
of
Nashville
something,
or by Knoxville?
we're near Knoxville, so
Yeah,
right by
I
the
know.
tail of the dragon. So it's a
Yeah.
Marable address. So.
Oh,
and
you got a full-on tail of the dragon
I am
address.
2
in
miles
Maryville.
from like the hub and everything right there,
Nice.
Pumpkin Center, right there on 129.
Oh, cool.
What
Yeah.
people consider the Star of the Dragon or the
Yeah.
bottom. But yeah, that's 2 miles from me, like from my door.
That's the spot.
So.
It's beautiful. Such good driving roads, man. Not just the Dragon, but the other roads right on there.
They're
Fucking
all around.
amazing.
They are amazing, and we get the groups come through every day. So my thought process is, take this shop I just built, 60 by 100 steel building,
Make it a destination.
make it a destination. I want to do group tours, basically, where it's scheduled in advance, but I want to have all my automotive weirdness lined up in there. And
Yeah.
I've got some other stuff that's just weird, like little 75 city cars, and I've got another one that's coming that's really cool. It's a
Dude,
little
if you open a
micro
quote
car.
museum, you could become a nonprofit. You could you could have and it only needs to be open to the public certain days. You can
Right.
charge money, and your whole life becomes tax free. If you
I've had
own
to
the
look into that.
Speedy Cop Museum,
Yeah, but that's what I wanna
501c3,
do.
baby.
That's what I want to do.
That's how you do it.
People like this stuff. They like the weirdness,
Yeah.
And I take it to shows and like, why don't you show this more often? Well, life gets in the way.
Well, and
They
if
get
car
busy.
people are coming to you anyway,
Yeah.
you take advantage of
En
that
masse.
location.
There
Yeah, you should
Hundreds of
100%
them.
do
You know,
a
it's-
Speedy Cop museum. Like,
Dude,
because your
get a-
stuff is one of a kind.
Get
That's
some
very
fucking
weird, yeah.
billboards.
Jeff's Garage of Oddities.
Get
That's
some,
basically
get,
what,
get some signs along the Dragon where all these car enthusiasts are going anyway.
Yes.
Some partnerships with Deals Gap and whatever.
So it's funny because we moved there from Maryland, and at first it's like, here come these city slickers. They don't know me. I grew up working upstate New York, dairy farms and stuff like that. I'm a country boy, and I hated working in the city. Parts of it appealed to me. I mean, I like fighting crime and excitement and action and stuff like that. So that scratched all those itches. But I'm a country boy at heart, and I hated being like, we lived an hour outside of D.C. in a country pocket. We had 9 acres. We were in farmland. People don't think about that when you work in D.C. You must live in the city. It was an hour commute on a good day. On a bad day, it could be 2.5. You know what I mean? And that sucks.
Yeah.
But so we get out to this country pocket.
If only you had a helicopter.
It's remote, right? Rub it in, ass. So we get out there, and they get to know us, and like, okay, you guys are actually okay,
Yeah.
So they've accepted us as one of their own in this community, and they're really nice people. And like I said, we're out there. It's in the country, out there 2 miles from the tail of the Dragon, in the mountains here in the Smokies. And the neighbors are all getting used to seeing the weirdness. Like, they come over and help now, which is great because I need more outlaws. My outlaws are 9 hours away, So I got to rope in whoever I can.
Yeah, you're good.
And so when I take things like the plane down the Dragon or whatever else, and people who haven't seen that like flip out and love it. But then my neighbors will go down the Dragon because they do it every day. They take motorcycles and their normal thing. They ride up there. They sit for a little while, visit with people. Well, they start mentioning like, hey, my new neighbor is Speedy Cop, and oh yeah, I know Speedy Cop, before they even talk about what builds or whatever. So it's weird. Like, people know my work, but they don't know me.
Yeah.
So that's where I've dropped the ball so big. I mean, I've got to build the social media following. I'm at 10,000, almost 11,000 on Facebook, which is a joke because that's a small following. And I need to make this a business, so I need to grow all that. And I don't have the expertise. Like, I'm really good at coming up with the weird stuff and really good at executing it, and I can drive the piss out of it.
Well, don't make it a virtual business. Make it a real business with a location. You've already that's hard. You've already got that. You got a whole way to display this stuff. You can take it out to people.
But I want to do both.
All right.
I want to grow the social media following stuff.
Hire a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to.
Hire a 25-year-old to do that, and then you build it. Yeah.
And people associate us with just the weirdness. Now, we have overalls. I've done overall on Lemons, overall on Lucky Dog. I've actually beaten my buddy Randy. It took me years. He is the man for a reason. We went to New Zealand and raced that Mustang. It was a Lincoln Mark 8 that we debodied and put that 71 Mach 1 shell on. It was a dirt track car. So it was a really hacked up car, but it's a cool looking car. It just looks like a 71 Mach 1 with the wheelbase being wrong.
Yeah.
So we ran that in New Zealand in a lemons race over there, and Randy would get out and I'd get in, and I beat him the first 3 stints, and the final stint he got me because that's what he does. I mean, he just goes faster than you no matter what you do. So
Probably
he's
costs
the man
more
for
to
a
ship
reason.
the car to New Zealand than to build the thing.
Yeah, the guy that runs the series over there, my buddy Jakob, he's a great guy. I said, I'll give you the car and I'll build it for you. You buy whatever parts we need, buy the cage materials, buy the wheels and tires and seats and stuff. And I said, we'll build it. You ship it over, and we'll come over and race it. And he said, done.
So
and we still have a standing invite. It lives there now. We can come back and race it
Nice.
whenever. We need to go
Cool.
back again.
It's a great place.
Great place.
One of our,
Most beautiful
one of
place
our
on
favorite
earth.
places.
Yeah,
one
it's
of our
absolutely
favorite places.
unparalleled.
And an amazing motorsport culture as well. Hill climbs,
time
street
gearheads.
sprints. Yeah,
So
they
you get
build
the
crazy
same-
shit down there.
Yeah. So I've done Australia and New Zealand both for Lemons because actually I became like the ambassador for the series.
A New
you know?
Zealand lemon race would be really interesting.
It was,
There's some really, really creative people down there working on cars.
There are.
We
It's
love it down
NASCAR now with
Yeah.
a Z, but it was Lemons. They lost their license.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it was Australia and New Zealand. It just didn't work out for J Lamb, and
That's okay.
things came up. But now you have Australia's a whole bunch of hardcore gearheads too,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they build wild stuff. But
Yeah.
you can't put it on the street there.
Yeah, well, New Zealand
Like-
has the lack of regulation that
Right.
Australia
They can
would
drive the
probably
cars.
love.
The
yeah.
Aussies have to do the burnouts in their own driveway, and
All in New
The law
Zealand,
still gets
all
called.
engine swaps are legal as long as they pass a safety inspection, which
Yeah,
is pretty
great.
rad.
They're awesome.
Yeah, pretty
awesome car
rad.
cultures.
Well, thanks for coming by, talking cars with us. I hope
Yeah.
you have a great rest of your trip. And, of course, SpeedyCop.com if you want to see photos and videos of all the crazy shit Jeff's built and find a way to go look at his shit at the Dragon when he opens his fucking car museum.
Or just come by anyway. Hit me up. Message me. Say, hey, I want to see your place.
And
I'd love to show it off.
Speedy Cop Videos is the YouTube channel.
Right.
Right. You can go see videos of this crazy shit racing. And all the contact stuff is at SpeedyCop.com. Thank you to our patrons for supporting us and everyone else for listening. And we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Matt, Zach, thank you.